Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Woo Curious podcast. Your map to the mystical, your key to the sacred, and your guide back home to yourself. I'm Eileen, a writer, a spiritual coach, energy healer, and slow living witch. This podcast is your invitation to explore a world where the mundane and the sacred intertwine. It's a haven for those ready to take the first steps into the realms of magic and mystery, providing a safe space for you to embark on your own enchanted journey towards healing and self-discovery. Here, I'll unveil the whispers of the mystical, the rituals often hidden in plain sight, and I'll engage in sacred conversation intended to stir your soul and lead you back into your power. I'm all about demystifying woo and witchcraft. So, whether you're a seasoned seeker or simply woo curious, I'm so delighted you've decided to join me on this journey. Let's make magic. Hey Woo Crew, it's Eileen here. I was thinking about what I wanted to record for you for this first week of January, the beginning of the Gregorian New Year, and my mind kept drifting back to an episode that I recorded with my former co-host, Ellie McMillan, back at the very end of 2023. It aired on January 1st, 2024 that year, and we talked about how this moment in time, this calendar new year, this Gregorian New Year, how little sense it makes from an energetic standpoint. And I wanted to re-share the episode with you. So I've gone through, I've edited it down a little bit. I've pulled out some of the tangents that we went on that really don't make any sense anymore because we're 2 years in the future. But so much of what we spoke about remains relevant, remains the same. And it's really a delightful conversation and a little throwback to the roots, the history of this podcast. If you've been with me since day one, you'll remember Ellie. If you haven't, perhaps you'll fall in love with her and you'll go check out her podcast, Attuned to Your Alchemy. And yeah, we talk a little at the end as well about choosing a word of the year and what that represents. And I would love so much to hear what your end of year rituals are. If you have any, if you chose a word of the year, I have a guided word of the year visualization over on Insight Timer. It's free. If you haven't chosen a word and after listening to this conversation, you feel like you would like to, I will link it in the show notes for you below. The other thing I want to mention is that as of the time of me recording this, it's not ready to go, but by the time you're listening, the sign up for the Sacred Start workshop will be live. This is the third year that I am running this workshop, but it's the first year that I am running it as a paid offering. And the reason for that is that there are so many things in our lives. We're busy, we want to commit to things, and often we sign up for more than we can actually engage in, and we do ourselves a disservice by doing so. It clutters up our inbox with replays that we then guilt ourselves for not watching. It means that we have too many tabs open, either literally on our computer or in our minds. And so the workshop this year will be a small investment in yourself. We will be dropping into the energetics of this point of the year, and it's not happening until January 20th because of so much of what Ellie and I speak about in the episode you're about to listen to. It will be a workshop to help you craft ritual to support you through this calendar year. And I'm really excited. I'm just dreaming up all of what I want to add into this space to make it really valuable for you. I know that we'll be dropping into some guided journey work to meet some allies to support you through the year. We'll be talking about how ritual can support you. It will be interactive, so we'll actually be doing some of the work. It's called a workshop for a reason. So sign up for that. I would love to see you there. Tell your friends, come start soft with me on January 20th. And I hope that you enjoy this little blast from the past throwback episode as much as I enjoyed revisiting it. Bye for now. Hello, Woo Crew. Welcome back to the first episode of 2024, the Woo Curious podcast. I'm Eileen. I'm your host here with
Ellie.
your other host. We're so excited to be dropping in the new Gregorian year and chatting a little bit all about what this day and this new kind of potential new start means or how we approach it from our woo perspective. Okay, let's drop in to this week.
First of all, welcome to January 1st, a new
Mhm.
Gregorian calendar year,
That
2024.
that random seeming date that who was Gregory?
Yeah, who is this dude? Who gave him authority to say that this is the beginning?
Yeah, he clearly didn't know what the heck he was talking about
No,
because energetically it is not a beginning,
no.
which is what we're going to chat about a bit today. We're going to talk about kind of our own experiences with January 1st and the whole resolution craze that our culture has about why this date is energetically not a very good new start date, but also acknowledging the fact that it is a new start in a lot of ways because our whole society is kind of wrapped around it. What have your experiences with January 1st, like thinking back to how you engaged with it or felt towards it growing up or in your early adult years? Yeah, how do you feel about this date?
Well, I think that I'm somebody I love a new planner. I love a new year. I love a new.
Hmm.
And as a youth, I always felt like there was this heightened anxiety and rush towards the new year and really understanding what my goals are. Like I hadn't quite finished with the former year. I hadn't quite finished with celebrating the holiday. I hadn't quite finished with all of those things. And like, bam, we're right here. We need to have it all figured out by January 1, or I don't know what's going to happen, or the boogeyman's going to come get us. Hecate is going to be lurking in our closet. And actually, she probably is, but that's another story. Uh, and I really felt a lot of anxiety towards this exact moment as we move towards today. And over the last few years, I've sort of loosened the reins, so to speak, on needing to have it all figured out and needing a few things. Like this ceremony for closing the year can be earlier in December, like
Mhm.
having the permission for myself to celebrate whatever it was that I needed to celebrate at whatever time. And really feeling super aligned with times like Yule, but even like at the beginning of December to start thinking about January and how I want to close out my year so that when Yule comes around, I'm thinking to myself, great, this is how we want to close things out. And that's been what a big part of this week has been for me is the closing of things. But similar to, I'm coming back to a concept in yoga, as I often do, of the sound Om. And through our cycles of the year and through our cycles as maiden, mother, crone, and death, we have this pregnant pause, like this pause for possibility. And what we
Mhm.
don't have in our Gregorian calendar is that pause. And maybe the pause is like from Christmas Day until January 1st. That's the pause because we don't know what's going on. And we're eating mashed potatoes and gravy every meal of the, I mean, I would be eating mashed potatoes and gravy every meal until they were
Gone.
completely, yeah. And then I'd be making more probably. So there's a couple of like moments in time where there's time for pause, but it's not quite enough of a pause to feel like you have the momentum because we're in deep, deep, deep hibernation mode if we're following the
Mhm.
natural year, the wheel of the year. And so I've always felt really, really like anxious about this and really like I'm
Mhm.
doing something that obviously is not like I'm not on the same wavelength as everybody else, and I need to get on that wavelength. Like whatever I need to do, I need to
Mhm.
get on that wavelength. But tell me about your experience.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of similarities. I love that you say that idea of loving a fresh start because I do too. I really, I love the first of every month. Feels like a good way to fresh start. I love a good Monday. I love a new planner.
Mm.
But I
A
had
new
this
moon.
similar, a new moon, like, yes, give me all the starts. I was just jotting down all the different starts or new starts that there feels like there are through the year to me. So obviously there's Samhain, which is the beginning of the new year, if you're following the witch's calendar, the wheel of the year. But then we also have like the Gregorian New Year. We also have the beginning of Aries season, the astrological new year. We've also got, for me, Imbolc feels like kind of a new year because that's leading into spring. That's February 1st. That's like, okay, now there's some energy. And then the Chinese New Year happens around then too, end of January-ish. And then there's September, which always feels like a new year start too. So there are so many places. And January 1st just never felt like a good one. And for a lot of years, for me, it felt like not a great day for a new start because I was up well past my bedtime on the 31st, usually drinking. And the first always felt like a write-off. I was usually tired and hungover. And so then I would get to the end of that day and beat myself up. I'd feel guilty for having squandered the new start and, not started the new habit, or I'd set too many resolutions and they'd all be already not fulfilled by the end of day one. And so it really felt like this permission. Again, there's so many moments of permission in the wheel of the year for me to say, oh, yeah, this day just doesn't mean much of anything aside from the fact that it's a new calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it gave me this ability to just enjoy the day as a day and set a fresh start when it felt more relevant to me.
I
Yeah.
think what you pointing out as well, last night I did a full moon card reading and at the time of the recording this. And one of the things that I talked about was the fact that we have these moments in time for the full moon and we follow the astrological sign of the moon. And this one here was Cancer. And we have this emotional ride that we're going through in this present moment of trying to scamp towards this having it all figured out. And instead, if we take that pressure off, like January 1st, we're barely done the 25th, for example, and we're still eating our mashed potatoes. And then all of a sudden we need to have a whole year figured out. And I think if we start to like bring our nervous system down to more alignment with nature, we begin to see, and as we follow the wheel of the year, we begin to see that we have all of these seasons. And the
Mhm.
seasons in life can also embody the goals or the intentions or the desires that we have for those moments. And I know, Eileen, you're going to share a little bit about a little tidbit about this later on, but imagine if we actually aligned our goal setting to be less around having it all figured out on the 1st of January for the whole year and more in terms of what is the energy of the season or the wheel of the year or the moment in time that we're recognizing. And when we break it down to smaller bite-sized pieces, they're actually more attainable because we can focus on them. And
Mhm.
that focus gets lost. Like for anyone who has set an intention in January, like tell me in July what your intention was. Like if you can
Yeah.
remember it, for example, and if it's still going on strong.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's too long. Like it's great to have an overview of the year and, thinking about hopes and dreams and setting intentions, sure, but like a year is a long time. And as a human, you don't actually have the ability to hold that much time in your consciousness and a sense of like what can actually unfold over the course of a whole year. And you mentioned too this sense of like, yeah, we're only a few days out from that holiday that so many of us celebrate that is wonderful, but also exhausting. This period, this week between Christmas and New Year's is a very liminal time. But I feel like that liminality really wants to extend out beyond January 1st, at least by a few days.
Yeah, and if we think about Yule, we're just like we just had our darkest day, and we're just coming out of this hibernation. Like we're supposed to have this all figured out by, 7 days later, 8 days,
Mhm.
10 days later. No, no,
No,
not gonna happen.
no. More like, I mean, I feel very much like Imbolc is much more of an energetic start. For me, it's part of the reason that I'm opening up 3 one-on-one spaces to work with me in a longer container, a 6-month container, and they don't start until just before the end of January. Like that last week of January is when we'll have our first calls. And that feels like, okay, that's enough time. I was like, yeah, 2024 start. And then my whole body was like, wait a minute, this
Yeah.
doesn't align. No. And I struggled even to talk about it and to, you know, sell, promote, whatever, this container because right now, like, I just want to like turtle.
Yeah, we're
I
cozy.
just want to be, I just
We're
want to be in the
cozy.
dark and yeah, cozying up and reading excessively. And is there such thing as excessive reading? I don't think so, but it's the sense of right now is not the time.
Not the time to do it.
No.
So now that we've outed ourselves a big FU to January 1st and your stupid Gregorian calendar and your stupid goal setting, let's talk about numerology and then what we
Mm.
do, especially for this year, and then what we do coming into our setting intentions for a quote unquote new year.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't delved deeply into numerology, but it's popped up for me a few times recently. And so I've started to pay a little bit more attention. But in numerology, 2024 is an 8 year. So you just add up 2 plus 2 plus 4 and you get 8. And it is a number that's really associated with like abundance and success. And it's really auspicious. If we turn it sideways, it's the
Infinity.
infinity symbol. And so it feels like after a year of kind of waiting and preparing and everybody being like, holy shit, will this year ever end? Like we are actually getting a boost of energy and action and ability to bring into the world the things that we've kind of been ruminating on or preparing in a way.
I love this. Uh, yeah, cycle energetics, I think as well. We have things like Blue Monday that happens. And Blue Monday it's the third Monday of January, which is where all New Year's intentions go to die.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's
like,
something like 90% of people's resolutions don't make it past
no,
the first
because
3 weeks.
we don't even know how to goal set. This is the other thing that I think we can bring into this is that we literally don't know how to goal set. Those 90-day chunks are brilliant because we can break things down in a different way, but we don't know how to goal set when it comes to setting the New Year's resolution. We're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym every day. Dude, start with one day. Start with getting a gym membership. Let's
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah. Small, bite-sized chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So true.
So I'm curious to know some of the New Year's resolutions in the past that your former self set for yourself and how they went.
Mm. It's interesting. I'm trying to think. As an adult, I think I've shunned New Year's resolutions pretty hard for a long time, since my early 20s. I definitely remember the New Year's resolution of wanting to drink more water.
Oh, wow.
It never went well. It didn't.
Yeah.
It just never happened until I started living with Greg, who drinks lots of water and reminds me to drink water throughout the day. I am now more hydrated than I have ever been in my whole life. And
I love this.
yeah, so I feel like it would last for a day or two, but nothing ever stuck for long at all. And I do definitely remember years where I had like a list of, probably drink less, eat healthier, exercise, go to bed earlier, drink more water, all the standard things, none of which felt particularly inspired and none of which ever stuck.
No, never stuck. I just like we have set ourselves up for failure. We have
Mm.
really the New Year's BS has really set ourselves up for failure. Okay, shall we talk about what it is that we do now at the turning of the calendar, and for that matter, beyond the turning of the calendar to celebrate a new year or a new, as we've been referring to this as.
Yes, we totally should. And if you're curious about what Ellie's New Year's resolution was so many years ago that went real sideways, you've got to subscribe to the Patreon because those details are in there.
Oh, it's good.
It's
It's
so
good.
good. Our misspent youths.
I was so young and innocent.
Oh dear, weren't we all?
Mhm.
Okay, so back to some of the ways that we do engage with this shift in the New Year's. I was writing an email to my list last week, this week as we're recording, and I was talking about how while I don't love this Gregorian New Year energetically, there is a collective energy that does come with it. And so there is this sense of being able to harness it in some ways. And I mentioned that one year, a few years back, I shifted from even thinking about resolutions into thinking about intentions. And I think that intention setting, I mean, it can be done any day of the year. And so using this kind of liminal time and space between Christmas and this New Year day to do some introspection, some journaling, and intention setting for the year to come feels like a good alignment. It feels mellow enough. And I think that there's a benefit in intention setting at any time of the year. So I like to do some journaling and set aside some time with questions, whether or not I come up with those questions, to really kind of sink in and reflect back on the year that we've had and dream ahead to the year that's coming.
So journaling, intention
Intention
setting,
setting.
card
Yeah.
pulling. Tell me about the cards that you pulled.
Yeah. Last year, I pulled a card for each month. I actually did it with a couple of girlfriends, which was kind of fun because then each month I'd send like our group chat the picture of what that month's card was. So that was a really kind of fun thing to do. This year, I was in Hawaii and I had a couple of decks with me. And it was either on the solstice or the day after the solstice, I was like, I want to do a year ahead spread, but I really am not feeling the month by month. And so I decided to pull a card for each turn of the wheel.
Mm,
So that felt a little bit more like this is like aligned. This is aligned with what I'm doing, with what I'm teaching, with what I walk my clients through, and with how I'm attempting to live. So I actually pulled nine because I pulled one for Yule just now, and I pulled one for Yule 2024 as well. And then I wanted more than that. So I also pulled a tarot card for each season. So
mm,
winter, which we're in, winter, spring, summer, fall, and as an overarching kind of
theme.
energy or space theme. Yeah.
Yes.
So I really like doing that. And my plan is to pop them into my Google Calendar so that I don't forget. Because again, like these practices, 8 months from now, I'm not going to remember A, what I pulled, B, what it meant. And so I didn't even actually really read the descriptions of the oracle cards for each one. I just looked and was like, okay, that's cool. I took a picture, but I read the one for right now, where I am right now. Because for me, 6 weeks is plenty of time to try to hold on to a remembering of what the energies are.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's my practice now. It's something that I am excited to be offering to clients who are coming to work with me if that's something that they want to do as we embark on this deeper container
Mm.
together. I was like, oh, this feels like a lovely way to kind of set up the container for growth and healing. And it's something that I plan to carry on tradition with.
I love that. I also draw cards, and what you're reminding me of is to put them in my calendar because I put them in my journal. My journal has a certain structure. They go at the back of the journal because they're quick access into
Mhm.
things like that, and the rest of my notes and journaling goes in the front of the journal. So I can refer back. I also love a new journal whenever I do this. It often falls in place that I have one, but sometimes also just have a journal for this. And I remember the first time I did this, going back, one of my best friends, Mary, hi Mary, it was lovely to see you over on the West Coast. One of my friends sent me a link to a woman who had a Wheel of the Year book that she published every year. And so every
Mm.
year she had the dates of that actual year. And I remember looking at it and thinking to myself, like, how exciting is this that I'm going to pull a card for each Wheel of the Year, like each turning. And I'm also going to pull cards for the full year. Usually I do a 12, well, a 14 card spread. And it's always curious for me coming back to the book as I went through this. This was the first experiences that I had with the Wheel of the Year and how it really changed the way I looked at my year because of
Mm.
that energetic break. Now
Hmm.
we're looking at this and now we're looking at that. And I also find that sometimes for either following the 13 moons of the year or following the 12 months of the year, that sometimes it's too fast. Like I'm just getting into those energies. Although
Mhm.
the 13 moons is a really nice way to like open and close that portal. I still feel like the 12 months, sometimes I'm like, I'm not done with this because we're still in the cycle of the moon as somebody who really follows the cycle of the moon. But last year, I pulled my 14 card spread for just the 12 months of the year. And it's always surprising to me when I go back and look. And, there was some really, really, really hard things that came up in 2023 in my card spread. And I thought, I think I literally was like, I think I need to do a second card spread because this one, like maybe it was the energy that I was in. It was just like there was lots of shadow and lots of darkness. And I just like, I'm not quite sure. No, 2023 was all darkness, was all shadow. It was
Yeah.
all dealing with things. And interestingly enough, the month of May was probably the hardest month. It's also the month that my father passed in. And he, May 30th. So right at the end of that month. It was also a month that I made some new commitments to myself in terms of, rising above shadow, some shadow work that I was doing. And it also was the most difficult time in our household because of some things that were going on personally in our household. And the cards knew. I thought, May,
They
what's gonna
just
happen
do.
in, yeah, what's gonna happen in May? Like shit's fucked in May. Yeah, it was. Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. I joined Carmen Spagnola's community for a month because I wanted to do her intuitive business planning workshop that she does every year and like get a taste of her Yule. It's a community I eventually hope to stay as a member in, but she does an intuitive business planning workshop, and the way that she pulls cards for her year, she uses calendar year because she's doing it for business, but she mixes together a whole bunch of decks on the ground, like big pile mishmash of all the decks you want to put into that pile, and then closes her eyes and pulls cards intuitively for that. And I did it, and I remember being like, well, that's annoying. I wanted to have a watch in February. Like it was
Oh
just like
yeah.
this sense of, because she's like, I plan my, if this month is like do not cross go, she won't start something then. And so it was this interesting reaction in my body being like, well, screw that. I want to do it my way. And then I was like, well, but maybe you should
There's
listen,
something here.
Eileen. Maybe you should just, you know,
Chill.
let it be what it is.
It's so true. Yeah. Oh, a bit. I'm gonna do a business one this year too.
Hmm.
What a great
Hmm.
idea. What a great idea to pull for business and for pleasure.
Yeah.
So I also love my end of the year is a lot of journaling. It's a lot of reflection. It's really cozy. Like I like ha 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 at myself setting intentions or resolutions. Like, oh, sweet child, you had no
Hmm.
idea. And especially as we ride, into January 1st and then in the first new moon of the 2024 year, all of these things are just so affect how I really intend to live my life and how much of a push it is. Like pushing, the rock up the hill to scramble for January 1st. And then we're thrown back into work. If we have 9 to 5s or something similar, our first week of work is just really orientating ourselves as well. Just like, oh gosh, what were we doing again? Oh, right, this is the
Hmm.
project we were working on. So it's just not a time. It's not a time. It's not a time, people. It's
No,
not a
it's
time.
not. Don't try. Don't try just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Sit and dream and turn inward. We're still deep in the season of the Kyliak, the grandmother, the old wise woman, the crone. Brigid doesn't come back until Imbolc. That's the spring. There's just this real sense of we should still be resting and sleeping more and dreaming and planning, not executing just yet.
But this is your permission slip.
Mhm.
Everybody listening, this is your permission slip
Permission to chill,
to rest.
to rest.
Tell me before we wrap this episode up about your word of the year
Yeah,
and
I
what
didn't
words of the year is and like this whole concept. Tell me more.
totally. Yeah, I didn't start to pick a word of the year. This is actually only the second year that I've done it until I joined the My Aligned Purpose people, our business mastermind last year. And it's something that they encourage or do with community. Our coach Nick recorded a guided visualization for us to listen to and pick our word of the year. But it basically it's sitting with, some intention, some thinking about how this past year went and how you want to feel or what you want your guiding principle or guiding light to be in the new year. And so selecting a word to kind of guide you. And then for any decisions that you're making in the new year, asking if that makes you feel the word, like the word that you chose. So I chose the word courage for 2024. And my word in 2023 was simplicity, and I did not. I did not. I did not. If I had asked myself at each turn, does this feel like simple? I would have said no over and over, but I pushed my way through, and here we are, learning the lessons the hard way. That's the role of a 6-3 projector. But for this year, it's almost the sense of needing courage to embody or embrace that simplicity. But as I move through my year, asking myself, okay, does this feel courageous? And if it doesn't, if it feels safe, then maybe saying, oh, that's maybe not the space for me to go. Not that absolutely everything I do has to feel unsafe. But
Ooh,
that sense of applying your word to the year to kind of hold a container. And it's easier to remember one word than it is to remember some kind of vague intention.
agreed. Totally agreed. And I love
Yeah.
this desire. As somebody who worked with the desire map quite a bit in what feels like a previous life, but the beginnings of leading ceremony actually was the desire map for me. It is something that I've done for quite some time is to choose words or desires for both the new year, the turning of the year of January 1st, and for my birthday. And
Mm.
in the past, they've been like either sayings or something like that. And so one that a friend reminds me of often enough is this concept of like, do you remember the movie How Stella Got Her Groove Back?
Yes.
Okay, I've never watched the movie.
I haven't actually seen it either, but I
No.
know the movie you speak of.
So I'm not quite sure if this is the intention or not. But the one year my theme was how Ellie got a groove back. And it was just like, how do we go back to like we had gone so far off course. How do we come back to this place? And when I was thinking about the word of the year this year, it's something that I've definitely, embodied in the past many years. But I hesitated this year as I'm hesitating right now and speaking to it. I hesitated because I thought to myself, like, there are so many things that are going on, and 2023 was just this dumpster fire of shadow for me. Actually, the word of the year for 2023, looking back, should have been shadow. It was so we just needed a recourse and to rebrand what our word was. And this year I was really starting to think about what is it that I really want to embody as we move forward and to continue to embody as something that feels really good for me. And the word of the year that came up is magnetic. And the magnetism that I am really embodying this year is around being so wholeheartedly and unapologetically myself in
Mm.
situations. And we talked about this before we pressed record about, how hard it is sometimes to be our authentic self during the holidays because we have Uncle Stephen and Aunt Susan that are coming to some of the holiday dinners and whatnot. And this is just my practice to continue the course of, okay, I get to make the choice here to retreat, or I get to make the choice to embody. And this is where we're going with that. So Here we
Hmm.
are.
I love that idea of rebranding. I was like, what would I rebrand 2023 as? Oh, it would either be growth, which really encompasses a lot of the discomfort that happened, which is
Mhm.
like a nice positive one, or maybe disillusionment.
What I think I know, I have no idea about.
Yeah. Yeah, really a lot of disillusionment.
Yeah. I think you're also reminding me of, you said something earlier that, goes along with what we were talking about of forgetting what it is that either we've chosen as a word of the year or our intentions or any of these things. And I think that as we start either new planners or as we set up our schedule for the new year, that to set intervals for ourselves for review. And as
Yeah.
somebody who does, a seasonal review of my business and of my personal life, the review I think now needs to embody, are we rebranding? Is magnetism
Hmm.
like not where we're at?
Right.
Is courageous not where we're at? We actually need whatever this is. And to give again ourselves permission to be able to change that at any moment. And to understand that seasonally, this is the moment that we're in, that courageous and magnetism is the exact moment that we're living in, and that might have to
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I love that. That giving ourselves grace and not keeping ourselves pinned to something that no longer fits.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are,
So if you
2024.
Yeah, 2024. If you have a word of the year that you want to share with us, we would love to know. Come join us over on the Instagram or send us a message through any of our other channels. And we'd love to hear about your word for the 2024. If you even have a word for 2024, if this is a practice of yours or any of the practices that you really embody moving forward into this new calendar year.
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, thank you for joining us on this winding adventure of January 1st.
Welcome. Welcome to the new year. Thanks, Woo
Hmm.
Crew.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.